Your presenter today is Dr. Michael Sinnott, Senior Clinician and Innovator with ClickSmart. His expertise led him to become involved in the development of safety guidelines and legislation in the United States and safety standards here in Australia. Thank you so much for joining us today, Michael, and welcome to the microphone.
Let's now review the learning objectives for today. Firstly, to understand the risks and consequences of sharps injuries. Let me state the obvious. All sharp cuts and injuries are important but easy to ignore. What each one of us needs to remember is that every injury happens to a person just like you. This is unacceptable, yet we have somehow accepted it. So I'd like to congratulate you for taking the initiative to learn how to protect yourself by watching this webinar. Next, to examine the common reasons why staff safety can be neglected within healthcare facilities. One key question for each of us to ask ourselves is, why have we accepted working in an unsafe environment for so long? And then, are we going to do anything about it? Next, to review the current Australian regulations and standards that mandate sharp safety. This information is not normally part of a clinician's reading habits or curriculum, so I hope you will find it interesting and useful. Lastly, to explore sharps injury prevention strategies using the hierarchy of controls and apply them to clinical practice. The tools to make a difference are freely available. We just need to use them. I've added a personal action objective. This talk is designed to share information and insights with you on these topics as a way to both inspire you and arm you with what is needed to make the required changes in both your hospital and your own personal clinical practice. The agenda appears on this slide and will be repeated at the start of each section to help you follow the flow of the talk. Firstly, we will look at the consequences of sharps injuries for you, your patients, and your facility. Next, we will look at the costs involved in sharps injuries and then the likelihood of an injury. This scalpel injury to a nurse was reported in 2019. It happened in Kurdistan, highlighting that we are talking about a global problem to which no one is immune, no matter how much we deny the risk. A 24-year-old nurse had a scalpel injury while removing the scalpel blade with artery forceps. The blade cut the medial aspect of her right wrist, resulting in a total transection of the ulnar artery. The nurse required an immediate procedure to ligate the artery. It took 2 years for the nurse to fully recover. Many years ago, I was working with a number of young UK doctors in ED. They told me the story of one of their colleagues who was an intern in England when she suffered a needle stick injury. The injury was uncomplicated, but due to the psychological trauma, she never worked again. The subsequent suit cost the UK government a lot of money. Now, assuming your injury requires time off work to heal, training is an important part of the overall safety program, but without engineering controls, it has at best a short-term effect. Training.